Hello there, my name is Sixo, but more on that later, as now it's time for another Toy of the Week video. And after a good few weeks of exploring different eras of the franchise, I thought it was only time that we get right back to the start of it all and showcase some old-fashioned, chunky Generation 1. Although I did take a bit of inspiration from an upcoming toy, no less. You see, the one and only Fans Hobby have just debuted images of a new figure known as Ace Hitter, which is clearly a representation of Master Force Go Shooter, one of the 3 Headmaster Juniors from 1988. Of course, we've also just received their Athena figure, which is itself an interpretation of Go Shooter's comrade, Minerva, a review of which you can also find on my channel. In any case, it's exciting to see them cracking on with the roster so quickly. What's also exciting is that they've already teased a repaint of Athena in a blue and yellow colour scheme meant to represent the original Hasbro release of Nightbeat. And so there's every reason to suspect that we'll get a similar treatment of Ace Hitter and see the Hasbro equivalent character of that toy brought to life too. So, who better to look out for today's spotlight? This is Generation 1 Siren. Siren is a first-generation Transformers toy, released by Hasbro as part of their second-year Headmaster lineup in 1988. Siren is a sizable blue, grey and black robot, and like his Autobot comrades features an unmistakable helmet section atop his signature Headmaster noggin. For vehicle mode, Siren transforms into an approximation of a Mazda RX-7, decked out to look like a fire chief's car, with department and emergency logo decals adorning much of his body. Siren follows suit with the line's continued shift towards blockier, more robust designs than those of its Diaclone and Microchange origins, but still maintains a number of details that make him really quite attractive in hand. The paint applications here are very striking and work well against the uniform off-grey of the main body, although it can be hard to find copies of the toy with pristine paint today. Equally, the stickers covering the majority of the toy look marvellous when mint, but again can be all too prone to wear on second-hand specimens. Of course, he's also packaged with his small humanoid Headmaster companion, known rather memorably as Quig. Quig is a tiny little thing, noticeably smaller than the Headmasters from the year prior, but still manages to pack in some superb detail. In vehicle form, Quig can ride inside the car by flipping up the windshield to reveal a rather basic interior, although with Siren's robot mode helmet forming the seat. This is also a really handy feature for making sure you never lose the little fella. Additionally, all of Siren's weapons can then be plugged into the top of the car mode, decking him out with a bit of extra firepower. Transformation is a simple affair and mainly involves flipping over the bonnet to form the legs and pulling down the rear sections of the car to make the arms. After that, it's a question of transforming Quig into head mode before adding the helmet section and putting him in his rightful place atop Siren's shoulders to make the robot mode fully complete. Siren's robot form is a handsome affair, with noticeably heroic proportions and an attractive colour scheme. As well as the blasters on either side of his head, his main rifle can be stowed in either hand and makes him look ready for battle. Whilst he's certainly not the most poseable example from Generation 1, there is quite a lot of movement to be had in those arms, which can articulate at the shoulder and at the elbow. Ultimately though, Siren's charm comes from his good looks, of which that Sublime head sculpt is a large part of the offering. Siren also features the classic Headmaster gimmick of a flip-down panel on his chest, revealing a spring-loaded text-back reader that activates once Quig is stowed in place. Overall, there's a lot to love about Siren in his robot mode, and it's especially interesting to see how large he is versus the other Autobots in this lineup. They make a handsome trio all the same. In terms of fiction, Siren never featured in the Sunbow Transformers cartoon, although he did crop up more than a few times in the corresponding Marvel comic, first in the classic black and white UK exclusive storyline, The Big Shutdown, before going on to make regular appearances in the main US storyline. In an interesting twist, it seems that Siren underwent a bit of a head swap with Nightbeat when his fictional appearance was being designed, as they both seem to be portrayed with each other's head sculpt from the toys. How and why this happened is unclear, but it has led to numerous collectors attempting to modify both toys in order to better fit their fictional portrayals. Of course, an alternatively painted version of Siren does appear in the Japanese exclusive Master Force series, although he was instead known as Go Shooter and was initially presented as a lifeless robot bonded with a human child. The Go Shooter toy is very different in colour to Siren, and instead imagines the figure as a more traditional police car. Go Shooter is very difficult to find in mint condition on the secondary market, and can command some rather exorbitant prices these days. Still, Siren is no slouch either, and is often a subject of desire for many a G1 collector hoping to find a minty specimen. It can be tricky, but if you do find a decent copy, then Siren looks nothing short of marvellous, and makes an excellent companion to his two Autobot colleagues. In fact, I think it's hard to overstate how much I've enjoyed all three of these toys myself since I first discovered them, with Siren especially standing out as something rather remarkable. So I think overall Headmasters were some of my favourite Transformers toys as a kid, whether from the 1988 range or the original 87 lineup. I just always found that the concept of Headmasters captured my imagination somehow, and it certainly helped that the toys were pretty great too. That said, I didn't discover the later Autobot Headmasters until more recently, and Siren here was actually a very recent acquisition overall. As I mentioned, it's hard to find him in really nice condition, as all too often he's quite discoloured or has scratched paint, or there's very noticeable wear to the stickers on the sides of the arms. If you can track down a decent copy though, then it's definitely worth it, as it's a lovely design and one that I can't wait to see done justice by Fans Hobby's updated attempt. Anyway, Generation 1 Siren is our toy of the week, so a big thank you for watching, and indeed to everyone who subscribed to the channel so far. Big gratitude also to all my Patreon supporters, details of which are coming up at the end of the video in just a moment. Otherwise, that's it from me, so enjoy the rest of your day. TTFN.